Okay, so we're going to have a look for the first time at leveling an image. So first thing we need to do obviously is load the suitable image. So I'm going to use the image called levels. So I'm going to go to File, I'm going to go to Open, and under the samples, so we go to Samples, I'll see there's a whole load of images. Go down to the letter L, and then I'll find an image called Levels. Click Open. Okay. As per normal with these things, I'm just going to change that back. Anyway, so as normal with these things, you want to probably zoom in so that you get the image centered on the screen so you can see it as much as you wish to. So there's the image we're going to be using, and obviously it's quite a darkish image. You can sense that obviously the photograph itself, when it was taken, the camera was probably overwhelmed by maybe a very bright light source, such as a window to the top right. And because of that, when it was using maybe a zoom to go into just an aspect of the actual scene, it's actually overridden the settings, so it thinks it's going to be a brighter scene than it really is, but the actual part it's taking the photograph of is darker, and that seems to be the error there. Modern cameras are much better at dealing with this, but it can still happen even today. So what we're going to do, we're going to use something called levels to enhance the colors. Now, bear in mind from the first session, we did say that in technically an image which is perfect, it has a bit of every single color. So it has everything from a bit of black through all the various colors of the rainbow to white, pure white. So what we're going to do, we're going to load up the levels tool. So I'm going to go to the color menu, and I'm going to go down to levels, and it's going to load a histogram, which you can put nicely on the side here, which is quite nice. Okay. So automatically, especially with this new version of GIMP, you should have a histogram come up, and it should automatically have preview turned on. So any changes we make will instantly appear on the screen. What you can also have is something called split view. So you can have half the screen original and half the screen change, but I'll probably put that on in a minute just to show you. So let me give you an idea of what we're doing with levels. Now, first of all, we only use what we call input levels. Output levels are not something used on this course whatsoever. And the input levels show you what's both on the screen and what will print or be displayed on the original, on the final copy. Now, the histogram shows you the quantity of the levels. So obviously the highest quantities are here in the middle. And those are probably going to be the sorts of greens, and these over here are going to be, I'd imagine, the sorts of reds. And somewhere you got like a yellow, and you got a lot of background. And the background where it goes lighter and lighter is probably going to be these sort of colours here. But one way or the other, you'll never really know what those individual bars or elements of the actual histogram represent. All you know is that it's got a large amount of colour, but it doesn't actually start until approximately there. And it doesn't start also, I don't know if you noticed, but there's a slight gap also on the dark side as well, where it doesn't quite start with black. So even though it looks black, somewhere in there should be something which is pure black, and it's not quite there yet. So we're going to enhance that as well. But let's start with the light side. To fix a photograph, or to level a photograph, basically all you need to do is make sure that the left and the right angular, the triangle bits, are basically pointing to where the color begins or ends. So in this case, this is for the light. This is where the color ends. So I've dragged this, and that instantly you can see has made a huge difference. And likewise, I'm going to drag the black triangle in just a fraction to where the dark starts. You probably won't even notice a difference. And that will now fix the photograph. Instantly, it's fixed the photograph. And that technically now is a perfect photograph. That has a bit of everything. It has a bit of pure white somewhere, it has a bit of pure darkness somewhere, and it's got all the various colours of the rainbow. Now at this point, I can just fix it by clicking OK, and it's done. But you can actually make further changes to it if you wish. If you click on the image again, because the last tool selected was levels, it will come back. So we do have further changes we can make to it using the middle slider. Now the middle slider you have to be very careful with, because if you drag it too far away from the middle, it will make a dramatic change to your image. And although it can be partly a matter of your own personal preferences, when you change your middle slider, you also need to be aware that what you are doing is overriding, really, to an extent, with many photographs, what the photograph technically should be, which is just by changing the dark and the white slider. But I'm going to use that middle slide just to enhance it just a little bit, maybe just make it a little bit better. And obviously you would really rely on a good quality monitor, a calibrated monitor if possible, which can cost a lot of money, hundreds of pounds to have your monitor calibrated. But you're looking for something where you know that image is truly what you would see, say, on a poster, on your printer, so therefore you'd have to be calibrated to those individual devices. But I'm happy with that now. I'm going to click OK. Now, of course, that's just, that's quite a straightforward leveling up. That doesn't really require a lot of work. However, some photographs, so I'm going to load up another photograph called Levels 2. Now, this one at first glance looks okay. Okay, you might think, oh no, it's fine, this photograph. There's nothing wrong with it, really. It's reasonably good. But what you don't realize until you look at it for a little bit, it's the opposite. It's not too dark. It's actually slightly overexposed. It's kind of not showing enough of the darker colors to give it definition. It's really a bit sort of washed out. Okay. So again, if I click on the picture, because the last tool I selected was the Levels tool, the Levels tool will come back, and instantly you can see what's happening here. Definitely, it's all the way up to the very lightest. There's no problems with the light side of things whatsoever. However, the dark side definitely runs out. So I can bring the dark triangle to where the dark should be and let go. Now that does enhance it and definitely makes a big difference. So if I take that back down again, you can see instantly, so you can see now how it's washed out. But if I bring it up, you can see how it brings some definition to the image. But at this point, this is one of the sort of images which can do a little bit of fine tuning with your mid-tone slider. And again, your mid-tone slider move very gently, only a little bit. When you move your mid-tone slider to the left, you're increasing the region to the right. So therefore, the image gets lighter. And likewise, if you move your mid-tone slider to the right, you're increasing the darker region. So therefore, more of the pixels become darker. So that's probably the best way of thinking about the mid-tone slider. So when you move your mid-tone slider, if I move it slightly to the left, it will actually enhance the brightness. And if I move it to the right, it will actually make the image slightly darker. Now, in the mid-tone slider, it starts at 1. So if I go back to 1, oops, that was my starting point there. Oops, nearly there. So I can decide from there, do I want to make it lighter? So that's going to the left. Or do I want to make it darker? And that will be going to the right. So in this case, I think definitely moving it to the left will enhance it. Now, again, personal choice, personal preference. I'm probably happy with it around there. You might find in your monitor it looks a little bit different or better at a different setting. That's totally up to yourself. Click OK and it will be set. Now, before I do that, though, I did say before that would show you the split screen. The split screen is really good because the split screen shows you the original compared to the new version. Now, you can drag the point at which you split the screen to any part you like. So I'm going to drag it to there so I can see the original and the darker. So you can see straight away, obviously, the difference enhancing the darker is brought. And you can also see straight away what difference bringing up the mid-tone has made. Okay, so hopefully you'll have an idea now if you prefer your finished version. And there's certain things you might be looking for. For example, on the original, I used a split screen. You can see that this area here was very much washed out. It was sort of overexposed strangely. But if I bring the slider back, you can see that it's bringing out the definition in the actual image itself. And these are the sort of things you're looking for. You can use these tools such as split view. So there's the enhanced, there's the finished product if you like, and there's the original. And it's good to be able to see the difference it makes. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to click OK, and there we go.